Hello present, hello future, hello you. That's all I'm saying today. The rest is up to you.
I'm a life noob. I have more plants than friends.
As soon as I heard the title of this collab, I knew the exact story to tell.
If you're wondering why I'm making this video in my shower, it's to kind of set the tone of awkwardness.
I hope this doesn't become super embarrassing for me, but what do you know?
My name is Caressa, and I am a life noob. I am a life noob because my geometry teacher has said that hell would freeze over before I make it to my 8 a.m. class on time, despite how hard I try.
Sometimes there are life noob moments that actually create a chain of events. They're bigger than you realize. 4 years ago when I was a freshman in high school, it was time for the spring play. I had never even ever considered ever trying out for a play. A bunch of my friends were like, you should do it, come on, do it, you'd be so great. And I was like, okay. Very reluctantly, I put my name on the list for auditions, and the audition day came, and I was extremely nervous. I'm really surprised that Webster has not yet bought my face to put next to nervous in the dictionary for that day. I was nervous. I got out there and I handed the director my information and stuff, and he said, alright, you can get started. I felt like Luther from The Ghost of Mr. Chicken when he's giving his public speech and he's got his paper and he's like, you know, shaking, you can hear the paper crunching, and he's like, and that was me. I stood there for like 5 minutes just going, After a while the director said, you know, do you need to step out into the hallway and calm down for a moment and come back? And I was like, oh, no, I can do this right now. He said, okay. So I stood there awkwardly for a little while, kind of just chuckling to myself, going, I could still see the expression on the assistant director's face. She was just like, are you serious? Like, she was throwing so much shade at me. After a while, the director just said, could you go out there and get the next person, please? And I went, mm-hmm. And I walked out, and when I stepped out of the door, I exclaimed, I'm a chicken! And I just kind of withered away. At the time I thought that was the end, but it really wasn't, because it actually kind of started a whole chain of events that changed my life. The next year when the spring play came around again, I volunteered to help with set construction and backstage stuff, and that was something I did for the rest of my time in high school, and now out of high school I'm still doing a little bit, and that was something that I thought was gonna be like a good compromise. I can still be involved in the drama department without having to go on stage. By the time it was my junior year, the winter musical came along, and I had met some new people, and one of them was someone who has been in drama like his whole life. His parents did it. I had told him about my experience, and he said, you have to try again. This time it was worse because I'm not a singer by any means. Somehow I managed to do it. I did the audition just fine. I didn't make the callbacks, but I made the chorus. And you know, that was a big self-confidence boost for me, and the experience. I got a lot of new friends, great experience on stage, memories.
I'm a life noob because earlier this week, I came outside to find my car with a flat tire. Did you know that a spare tire looks like this? Because I'm gonna be honest, I really had no idea. I'm a life noob because I literally just lost my phone and I need it to film something. Where is it? There it is. Okay, it's right in front of me. I'm a life noob because my filming situation looks something like this.
The most, I guess, like apparent thing I can talk about is, I guess, my sexuality. I mean, when I was very young, like 10 years old, I always thought the idea of like men with other men to be kind of like weird. And I guess, well, not really weird, kind of like silly, because when you're younger, you don't really have like a real understanding of like sexuality. And of course, around like 5th grade or so, I don't know, I started, you know, that's usually the time. I mean, some people it comes later, but like you start getting like the feels, you know, you begin to like feeling like kind of like this weird attraction that you never thought before. It was really, really weird to me. I didn't know how to perceive it. That caused a couple kind of like problems. Like, I thought I was weird because, you know, social norms, you're supposed to be with a girl. So I guess around 6th grade or whatever, I started like coming out to people, just like a select few. It was kind of premature of me because I was still, I guess, kind of in the confused stage. That went okay. For the most part, they were okay with it. And then I guess like the summer between 7th and 8th grade hit. I know that there were some personal things in my life, like just some people, and I don't want to go into it, but kind of sort of religion and just social norms kind of pushed me away from homosexuality. And I kind of went into sort of like a denial phase and just was like, no, you like girls. And I was really embarrassed about like anybody being like, aren't you gay? I'm like, no, I never was that. Girls, girls, girls. That didn't work at all. Must have been like freshman year. I finally got my crap together and I was like, what are you telling yourself? Who are you kidding? You like, after that, I guess you could say I came out to people. I was like, hey, do you remember that time where I said I was gay? You're like, oh yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I am. And then recently I came out to my parents and that went very well. And I'm out to mostly everybody now. I don't really care anymore because if you know, you know, and that's great.
I am a life noob because I've needed a new computer for about 2 years, and I've been choosing to program on this one instead. Not for monetary reasons, but simply because I never got around to buying a beautiful, full-size, sleek computer. And despite having one now, I still program on my old laptop. Really don't know why I do that.
I was in year 7 and 8 and I had this one boyfriend who we will just name boyfriend because I'm sure he doesn't want this on the internet. I was very timid around him and I had this image in my head on what was meant to happen when you have a boyfriend at 12 because, you know, you grow up with Disney movies and you think you know it all. I wanted our first kiss to be special. Maybe like a few fireworks in the distance or maybe a fountain, you know? And since we had been dating for a few months at this point, my boyfriend's friends, obviously being boys, were like, how far did you get? How far did you get? How far did you get? That's all boys wanted to hear at 12, I think. And he was very honest and just said, we've held hands. The stigma that came with that was a bit much for him. It got to the point where he said, fine, I will find a way to kiss her. I didn't know this at that point, but I soon found out. It came to a school trip and we went to a place with a famous abbey and it was a great day out until my friend told me that my boyfriend was scheming on how to kiss me. I was thinking, oh god, he wants to do the thing. Now, I don't think I'm ready. I just want to say, now that I'm older and I have views on consent and other things, I realise now what he was trying to do was quite wrong, but he was planning on just grabbing me and just kissing me. Came to the school trip activities and then I was split up from my friends. Oh great, guess who I'm partnered up with? The boyfriend. Thanks teachers. This school trip, I really want to know what was our purpose now because it doesn't make any sense. We went to this gorgeous abbey and then afterwards we just went round to shops picking up items from this list. I'm starting to think our teachers were having a night-in or something after the trip and they just got us to do all the shopping for them. One of the items was bacon. We saw these boys following us going kiss, kiss, kiss. And he looked at me and he smiled, started coming towards me, his lips puckered. He had his hand on my waist and was pulling me closer. And then I did what I felt was only natural. I took the bacon and I slapped him in the face. That was my face. I was like, just couldn't take in the fact I just slapped my boyfriend with a piece of bacon. Who else can say they've slapped their boyfriend with a piece of bacon? No one. I hope anyway. Oh, maybe I've started a trend.
You know, everybody has those little moments when the little things happen that just make you go, ugh. Today when I was at work, my coworker who is 59 years old and has been doing this stuff for decades dropped his paint bucket and made a mess. And you know, it happens to everybody. No matter how experienced you are in anything, you are still going to be a noob for all of time.
Sometimes it's great to be a life noob because you get to learn all kinds of new things. Earlier this week, I had a terrible cold and I could not do anything. Our Chinese foreign exchange student suggested that I take an orange, boil it, and then put salt on it and eat it. I thought that was pretty crazy, but I went ahead and gave it a try, and it totally worked. I never would have known that if I had just taken care of that cold the old-fashioned way. It's great to be a life noob.
No matter how much of a life noob I was in the beginning, sometimes these things have to happen for you to learn and grow as a person. So you're always gonna be a life noob no matter what you're doing. There's always things to learn.
I feel like the journey is not over because it truly never is over. Because you're always figuring out more stuff about yourself. You're always realizing things that you never realized before. And it's just a natural part of life. And I don't think you'll ever become perfect or you'll ever know exactly what you are, because in a way you're not really meant to. It's all about discovering these new things about yourself and figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it. And I think that's just the great thing about being a life noob, is that you're always discovering new things.
Some people think, wouldn't it be great to know everything? I don't think so, because life would be boring, you know? Life is about exploring, seeing new things, meeting new people, and learning new things, and learning about things you already know. And that's one of the things that actually gives you power to go through the day to day.
See, I'm really confused. I don't know how to do this.
Oh my god.
Teo, I hope you made this all jump cutty, where like in the time where I'm not saying anything, like right
I don't
now.
know how to end this. I'm just gonna walk out, awkwardly turn off the camera.
Say hi to Teo. They're life noobs too.
Should I have a sign off? Nah.